This meeting may be recorded. Your host will confirm. By continuing the meeting, you are consenting to be recorded.
Yes, it's recording, so we've now got that at the beginning.
Oh, is it? Oh dear, right, I think we're recording. So, hello everyone, and welcome to Workarama, the Festival of Work. But not any old work, new ways of working for today's world. We wanted to just welcome you all today, introduce ourselves to you and say how excited we are about running the inaugural Workarama event. It's a very big word, isn't it? Inaugural, but I do quite like it. My name is Jill Farmer. I'm a registered osteopath and chartered ergonomist specialising in office, agile and remote work. And this here is my business partner, the lovely Caroline Sumners. Hello.
A bit manic.
A marketing guru with many years experience for tech giants such as Hitachi and IBM. It's gone very dark in here. It's like the end of the world out there. We both run our own consultancies, myself Workwise Ergonomics and Caroline under her own brand of Caroline Sumners Marketing. And we run a startup called Flex, which is a community hub basically that facilitates us all to potentially live and work more locally, and more about that in a second. Caroline's going to tell you a little bit more about that. Many people have commented actually on how timely Workarama is since the world has gone mad in the last few months, but actually this has been planned for about a year now, hasn't it?
Yeah.
Initially we started as a way to bring our co-working community together and promote co-working to our local community here in Portsmouth. But it very quickly developed into a celebration of all aspects of the modern working world. And why? Well, because that's our passion, and I do think that word is way overused, but the other way of looking at it is it's something that we batter on about all the time. Work is such a huge part of many of our lives that we need to find ways to get it right and make it a positive part of our lives, we think. We both worked the corporate Monday to Friday 9 to 5 and endured the dreaded commute that goes with it. And we've both also done the self-employed home alone thing that has the potential to drive you utterly crazy. And I think it certainly did both of us.
Yeah.
But we believe that there has to be a balance in making work for us, and wanted to move the conversation forward, help more people, employers, employees and the self-employed to find ways of creating that balance. And of course, the world has changed massively since we decided to do the event. Just to give you a bit of background, initially it was a physical event here in Portsmouth until early March when we made the decision to go online for obvious reasons. And as soon as we did it, we realised that it was something that actually we should have done all along. It's been amazing actually, because it's allowed us to bring in more speakers, more delegates. Geography and time zones have just gone completely out the window, and with hindsight it's been a complete no-brainer and way more appropriate for the flexible remote working models we believe in, and yet until we were forced to do it we just didn't think it through. So you know, it's been amazing really. We've been very lucky that it has just allowed us to catch this wave, if you like, and bring this to the world when it needs it most. And of course, the changes we've seen recently are impacting on all aspects of our working lives. So what we've tried to do is bring together a real mix of speakers for you on lots of different topics that are going to affect us all going forward. I think you've got a list of our speakers there, haven't you? So who have we got?
Yeah, I have. Thanks, Jill. So yeah, before I talk about our amazing lineup of speakers that we've got, I just want to talk about briefly something that's been on my mind, particularly, but been on both of our minds this week. And I just want to talk a bit about the protests that are going on at the moment. And of course, our hearts are with those protesting against racial injustices. And we feel like we have to say that we come out and say that we do stand with you all. But right now we know that what's in our hearts, minds and good intentions is not completely what's needed. We also need some action. Honestly, last week we had a really long discussion about whether to postpone this event today. I was feeling a little bit uncomfortable about it, and I ended up speaking to a few of our speakers today because I didn't want to continue if it appeared that we were sort of being tone deaf to what was going on, and I can assure you that's not the case. Ultimately, we did decide to continue, and we have got an amazing lineup today, and we're incredibly proud of the fact that we've got such a strong lineup of, frankly, amazing women talking today, and gents, obviously, but that we've got a strong female lineup. Honestly, it wasn't intentional. It's obviously something that just naturally came to us, and when we were sort of reaching out for the speakers. And I really believe that we need more women now more than ever to have a voice, to show compassion, stand up and help change the world. But we also need that to do with profitable, sustainable businesses. I recognise that although we've got a great female lineup, it isn't as diverse as it should be racially. And we make a commitment that we will change that for the next event, which I can't believe I'm saying we're going to do, because I think yesterday I said I'm never doing it again. But anyway, we do recognise we need to do more. We are a small company just at the outset of what we're hoping to accomplish, and how we can use this company to support Black Lives Matter movement. Honestly, we know we need to take action, but we don't know what that is yet or what that looks like. Like many of us, we're educating ourselves and listening. And before defining the role that we can best play as an ally and as a voice in this movement, we're spending time looking at all aspects of our business. But we are making a commitment that as we grow and build the business, we're going to make it and build it with anti-racist commitments into the very fabric of the business. So I just wanted to say that because I felt like it was important for us to cover it, because we haven't been all over social media, but it is there, and it is something that we are actively doing something about. So with that said, presentations today. We have got, I think, something like 13 presentations coming up over the day from a wide range of really experienced and entertaining and interesting people. Many of whom, between us, Jill and I think most of the people speaking today, we've had the pleasure of, between us, working with at some point over our careers. Sarah Goodall and I, Sarah started Tribal Impact a few years ago. Sarah and I actually worked together at Hitachi, so we do go way back. And Sarah's got an amazing business that she started up to be fully remote from the outset. So that's one of our first presentations this morning. But we've got probably too many for me to talk about. But what we've tried to cover is a selection of, as Jill said, the topics and information that we think needs to be on the agenda for what we're talking about with remote work. So things about culture, why the culture of your business is important, leadership, how you communicate with your employers or with your employees, what you need to do from a legal perspective, from an HR perspective. Kay and Becky have put together a highly entertaining presentation. I hope they don't mind me saying that, for something potentially that people might not think would be a particularly entertaining topic, but they're both really experienced in this area. So that's definitely well worth the listen. And then throughout the day, we've got some live sessions and some have been pre-recorded. So I encourage you to check out as many as you can, but they will of course all be in the community and available. The recordings and the playbacks will be available. Also, just don't want to forget, we did launch last week a new podcast series that's hosted by Jill, chatting to all sorts of different people specifically about how COVID-19 affected them and their experiences with work. And Jill interviews sort of from facilities management, looking at creating safer workplaces, and for how people can go back to work We've also spoken to employees, CEOs, freelancers, a wide range of people who've got very different experiences of having to suddenly or work remotely, you know, on a more consistent basis. So do check that out. It's on all good all good podcast platforms. So YouTube, Spotify, iTunes. Jill's out there now in horror. She's out there. I've made her do it. So yeah, so that's it from me. So so lots of content for you to take a look at. You probably won't get through it all today, but it's there for you to look at and ask questions and sort of join in the conversation.
So yeah, regarding the podcast, she did make me do it. It's fair to say she did make me do it, but actually I've really, really thoroughly enjoyed it. So so there will be more to come. I think it's such an interesting topic, because from my point of view, you keep hearing that phrase that we're all in the same boat. Well, we're not all in the same boat. We're all in a boat, but we're all in very, very different boats. So to get everybody's insights and experiences of what it's been like for them and how they plan to get us through it, I think has been very, very interesting. So I'm very grateful for everybody that's given us the time to chat on that. So as Caroline said, most of the sessions today are pre-recorded, just because it would have been an absolute logistical nightmare to do them all live, and I think it's been a bit of a logistical nightmare anyway. But obviously we've got 3 or 4 live sessions. We've also got some Q&As coming up. We've got one coming up at 9:30 today. So I think we need to get a wiggle on and get ready for that. So we've got a packed schedule that we hope you enjoyed. It's going to take you right the way through to 6 o'clock this evening, when we'll close for the day. And then I think we'll have some well-deserved socially distant drinks that I'll probably be buying, because Caroline's done the lion's work of putting this together, that is for sure.
Yeah, I'm definitely craving a bottle of, not bottle, was that called a Freudian
Jeroboam, or whatever it's called.
A glass of red wine tonight, tomorrow for sure. Yeah, so Jill mentioned I was going to give you a little bit of a sneak peek about some of the things that are coming up, because obviously we're running this summit today, but that's actually for for the main business Flex, which is was conceived of an idea of connecting people and spaces together. And as we've gone through sort of various iterations of what that business should look like, we've sort of made some, you know, changes along the way, or pivot, as is the popular term. So so not only have we got Workarama that's happening today, we obviously also launched the Flex Hub this week, which is where you are viewing this this summit. So we launched that this week. And at the same time, we're actually doing a little bit of a campaign launch, actually. We've been working with a super talented designer that I've known for years, a guy called Dell Manning, who runs a business called Relish. Massive shout out to Dell. And we're developing a new campaign that we're going to be launching in the next, well, probably next week, maybe the week after, I don't know. And we've done it really because we are going to be launching crowdfunding campaign as well, in order to hopefully increase or decrease, I should say, the amount of time that it can take us to develop what we want this community hub and platform to be. So if I can actually give a little bit of a sneak peek of something that we're going to be doing, the campaign, can we see that? I don't know.
Yeah.
See that? So we're going to be launching a campaign, Work Local, support local business commute, support local businesses and cancel the commute. So this is a campaign that's going to be launching over the next couple of weeks, as I said. And the whole idea of it is that we all need to, we're all working remotely now, but there could be a tendency that we're going to get somewhat isolated. Now, at the same time, we're super passionate about supporting our local community, as we know lots of other people are. And we feel that there's loads of untapped resources, certainly where we are and around the country, where people can actually go and work. So although they're working remotely, there might not be a co-working space, but they can actually go and work in a restaurant, in a bar, in a hotel, in a, you know, in a cafe, that could set up a temporary pop-up type co-working spaces. And we really want to encourage the community to come together and do that. So we're very excited about our new campaign that we'll be launching, and you'll see more on that in the next couple of weeks. Yeah, I got ridiculously excited this week about it. So, and then came crashing down when I realized how much work we had to do for this. So never people to sit and be content with just one thing and getting one thing done. We're always thinking about the next thing. But really, this sort of like Council the Commute, Work Local campaign is all about us building up the network of spaces for people like you and I to go and work with, when we don't want to be sitting at the kitchen table on our own anymore. Many people have probably heard me tell the story about how before I joined a co-working space where Jill and I actually met, I was so sort of fed up and sort of like with being on my own at home. I used to go around to the local co-op just to talk to some of the people in there. Now, you can see how desperate that situation is. So this whole sort of like Work Local campaign is designed to really draw the community together, at the same time helping some of those businesses that have really suffered through the last 10, 12 weeks to give them additional help and support in hopefully getting their businesses back on track as well. So yeah, that's what we've got coming up. I think that's it from us, isn't it, Jill? We sound like the two Ronnies. That's it for me. Whatever.
That's what I was thinking earlier, that it's going to sound like the two Ronnies. And then I thought, and she always does this to me, she'll like go, oh, I don't know who they are, because she's 10 years younger than me, and she like makes sound I'm like 150 million years old. But anyway, good, I'm glad you know who the two Ronnies are.
Oh, yes, yeah. All right, so I think that's it, isn't it?
Yeah.
Enjoy the day. If we'll be in and around the community hub today. Any questions, just ask them. We will be there, hopefully having discussions and enjoying the presentations. And I think that's it.
Yeah.
Enjoy the day.
Right. See you soon, guys. Thank you. Bye.